Hello everyone. Today, I'm talking about the 9th series of the Scooby Doo franchise. What's New Scooby Doo? And yeah, I'm not joking. This is the 9th iteration of Scooby Doo. Let that sink in. In this video, I'll be going over the broad differences of What's New Scooby Doo from Scooby Doo, Where Are You? The reasons I fell in love with What's New Scooby Doo, and very briefly, why Scooby Doo has the power to remain relevant across multiple iterations. This video is under the terms of fair use and all that other YouTube gobbledygook. And I don't need a spoiler warning unless I'm talking about Get a Clue, Mystery Incorporated, and this thing, because broadly speaking, Scooby Doo is generally episodic and not serialized. I'm Mr. J, and I'm on lookout for the night. I do want to talk about the history of Scooby Doo, but I'm saving that topic of the whole franchise in its entirety for the future. Though, to shed some light for the context of Scooby Doo, and to make a long story short, Fred Silverman, an executive at CBS in the 1970s, commissioned Hanna Barbera to make a television show that took the feel of Archie, mystery solving, and the current rock band trend together. After a few gradual revisions on the production side, and a couple of dismissed pitches later, the finished concept of Scooby Doo was represented to CBS executives, who then greenlit the show for production. Aside from that one trash fire of an iteration, the Scooby Doo franchise is simple. Fred Jones, Daphne Blake, Velma Dinkley, Norville, Shaggy Rogers, and Scooby-Doo go around in the Mystery Machine, their trademark van, and solve mysteries across the world. With the number of iterations the franchise has, there are going to be a multitude of changes. So I'll focus on the broadest ones because A, I can't remember every detail, and B, if I did, I'd end up tanking the watch time. The biggest difference between Where Are You and What's New is What's New Scooby Doo takes the concept and brings it into the 21st century. The show still follows the same basic formula, but promotes a big emphasis on modern technology and culture. The next thing of note is What's New goes in a direction of realism for Scooby Doo, and sheds most of the cartoony antics the prior iterations had. The sound effects and music were replaced to mirror this change. The laugh track, save for the Halloween episode, wasn't used in the show. And also, the laws of physics and reality weren't broken in almost every episode. And lastly, while it's not the biggest improvement, the animation was a lot better. Granted, this was a show in the 2000s meant to appeal to children, so the bar is set in the relative middle. At least this time, it wasn't reusing certain assets to the nth degree, and having items or set pieces having a few goofy inconsistencies. I watched the first iteration, Scooby Doo, Where Are You, through a series of reruns and DVDs. We used to own the latter, but now they're lost to time. Then it was a sequence of randomly borrowing the 2nd through 8th iterations from our local and non-local libraries. I can't say much for the others as I hadn't watched them in their entirety, but the first iteration I can speak on. Where Are You had this campy feel to it. There weren't any stakes. The simple music carried the tone and atmosphere. The cartoony antics made me reel in my seat, and the overall presentation made it so it could be enjoyed by almost everyone I knew. Then, the day my brother and I watched What's New, we grew an even fonder appreciation for the series. The opening theme by Simple Plan marked a fresh chapter for Scooby Doo. The major overhaul to the look and feel was noticeable and welcome. What's New Scooby Doo modernized the formula and designs, but didn't sacrifice what made Scooby Doo lovable in the first place. Just 4 teens and a dog solving mysteries in a van. I also love What's New for its presentation. It doesn't stray far from the original material. but it manages to elevate everything that made the original material good, and does it with care. It's still the same campy, fun times with Scooby Doo, but with a bright coat of paint, a few adjustments, and a much-needed tune-up. If you're looking for a deeper reasoning, I'm sorry, but I don't have one. In my opinion, What's New Scooby Doo isn't meant to be deep. It's meant to be a fun, mystery-solving adventure that almost anyone can enjoy. To end this segment, what I will say is Scooby Doo and the Samurai Sword is an absolute banger. And seeing as it's the last direct-to-video film to use this style, it's an epic send-off for What's New Scooby Doo. All thoughts considered, this topic is one I'd like to circle back to at some point in time, but for now, let's worry about Scooby Doo. Scooby Doo as a concept is the epitome of limitless potential with an idea. As long as the original basis of the idea is there, the one here being 4 teens and a dog, solving mysteries around the world in a van, there's almost nothing that can't be done with the concept. From the Scooby-Doo iterations I've seen, Where Are You kicked off the franchise. What's New presented one of the right ways to bring a long-running series into the modern era. Mystery Incorporated showcased the concept has the ability to house a functioning serial narrative. And Be Cool showed the concept could still be able to go back to its comedic and cartoonish roots. While it's the same concept across each iteration, in terms of style, presentation, and setup, they managed to explore different facets of what can be done with Scooby Doo, and do it in a spectacular fashion. Shows like SpongeBob, The Simpsons, Family Guy, and any other show or franchise that doesn't have an end in sight will rapidly face seasonal rot. Scooby Doo and many other IPs are able to avoid that because they have a clear-cut beginning, middle, and end to each iteration. The way it's done effectively is, the current iteration doesn't drag out the story. It retains and changes certain qualities from the last, and each one adds something new to the pool of ideas. What's New works because it retains the core formula, carefully brought Scooby and the gang into the 21st century, provided the same quality and story beats we know of Scooby Doo, and it doesn't bastardize what made it good in the first place. Love it, hate it, or ultimately don't care for it, Scooby Doo as a franchise will live on for a long time. I personally enjoy the multiple iterations because it's either something to shut my brain off to, something to laugh with, or something to feel invested in. Though, What's New Scooby Doo holds a special place in my heart, because it was something new at the time. It wasn't trying to be a darker, too cool for school version of a franchise. My brother and I managed to watch 8 episodes on WB Kids before it up and evaporated. And a few years later, when I managed to find the episodes on DVD, it was cathartic to sit down and enjoy a piece of my hectic childhood for that brief moment. While it wasn't the biggest or coolest thing on TV at the time, it's a show that I wholeheartedly enjoy and will go back to when I can. What's New Scooby Doo is worth a watch if you're a fan of the franchise, or you're looking for a non-serialized and simple show. If you don't like Scooby Doo, well, that's fine. I can't magically make you like it. We all have our favorite and least favorite franchises. In my eyes, Scooby Doo as a whole is an interesting and fun concept to play around with and casually enjoy. And look, at the end of the day, I don't need to make a pointlessly long video essay dictating my biases of a piece of entertainment. I'll leave that up to the mediocre commentary channels. I love What's New, and I want you guys to grow a fond appreciation for it too. Now that we're at the end of the video, you've probably been wondering, as I've been bashing on Velma, when am I going to add my 2 cents to this joke? My answer is, I'll do it after the summer or next year. I have a life, and I have obligations that I need to attend to. Also, I'd rather enjoy trashing this with friends, or starting out my year one of 2 ways, witnessing a grand spectacle, or a monumental trash fire. I'm Mr. J, and hurry everyone, we have to get to the mustard machine.